focus on hitting your goals in every area of your business. Remember, the universe rewards the bold. A leader has to take the risks. All right, welcome to Wealth on the Beach podcast. My name is Daniel Alonzo, and as always, I am your host. We're talking to some of the greatest minds in the world. We're talking money, business, health, and wealth. And today, I have the honor and the privilege of talking to one of the great minds in financial services, good friend of mine, many, many years. We've been in business together and just always had so much respect. His name is Kevin Zirk, and he is out of Arizona. And what part of Arizona are you out of?
In the Scottsdale area.
Okay, all right. And so what's Scottsdale like, man?
Well, you know, interestingly enough, yesterday we had a little snow.
Yeah, really?
Happens about once every 10 years in Arizona. It just happened to be yesterday. But today it's sunny and beautiful, and the market's still doing fine, and people are buying houses. All the Californians are moving to Arizona, so our real estate market's going crazy.
That is wild, man. So cool. So cool. Why would anybody be moving from California though, man? I mean, it's just such a great place to build businesses. And
I would imagine it's the political attitude that's driving them out. I'm sure it is.
That's it, man. That's it. Well, hey, look, one of the things that I love about, you and about your life, and I've always been very envious about your life, is you do a lot of traveling. And so I want, because again, you built a business where, you're a vice president with the company, you're worth millions and millions of dollars, been financially free for a very, very long time. And I want to know, like, how awesome is it? What's it like, by the way, to be financially independent? And where are some of the places some of your most favorite places that you've traveled?
Yeah, that's a good point. And, I came from a construction job, and the only travel you did when you were working in a job for somebody else was on the internet. You were looking around at cool places to go, but you could never go because you couldn't afford to go. And if you could, you didn't have the time because you had to work. And then if you actually went, you'd have to put it on a credit card and pay it off for 5 or 10 years. So, the beauty of being self-employed and having your own business, and I saw this business as a way to fund my lifestyle. And I've always wanted to be a traveler. In fact, even as a kid, I was dreaming, right? I got to get out of this country. I was in Canada at the time. I got to travel the world, and I've had a chance to pretty much travel all over the world. Lived in Australia for almost a year one time, been all over Asia. In fact, and as our kids were growing up, Daniel, and you kind of know this, when they were growing up, everything they learned in school, wherever they were studying, that was where we go on vacation. So they've literally experienced the world, not just seen it on the internet.
Wow, that's super, man. Well, hey, look, I want to talk more about that, and we're going to get into kind of the lifestyle of what's possible. And I think that's important that we all, figure out what we want, and then and then also figure out how to get it. So we're going to talk about how to get that lifestyle, because I think you appeal. That life appeals to so many people. So many people just want to get away. They want to see the world. They want to experience life. And we're going to show you, people that are listening today, how to get that. So, but I want to kind of go back, and as I always do with all my guests, and I want to know, where were you born and what did your parents do?
Yeah, good. So I grew up in Canada, and my dad was a butcher. My mom worked at Safeway. And so they were like most people in survival mode. There wasn't a lot of money. They were just getting by. We never vacationed. That was one of the other reasons why I always wanted to travel. The only trips we ever took, the vacations, I never stayed in a hotel my whole life till I left the house. And it was always camping. So because that's what they could afford, right? And so, we had great experiences fishing and in the woods and stuff like that. But man, that's just not the world. That's just one little world. So, that's how I kind of grew up. And then actually the day I graduated I took a 2-year little business JUCO deal. And the day I graduated, we actually took a trip. I didn't even go to graduation because some other buddies of mine had planned to go to Hawaii. So that was my first vacation ever out of the country and ever staying in a hotel. and I got the bug. I'm like, man, this is the lifestyle. This is what I want to do the rest of my life. So that's kind of how I grew up. And then when I saw Primerica as a business venture, our business, obviously, it was a way to make enough money to have those experiences. So it worked out perfect.
And so growing up, and by the way, my mom worked for Safeway too. She was a checker for like
Yep.
25 years before I
Yep.
retired her into helping us out in our business. And so, but you know, as a kid though, what kind of kid were you? Were you a good kid, bad kid?
Not that good of a kid. In fact, interestingly enough, on my 10-year high school reunion, I was voted the most changed person because they figured I'd be dead but before the 10 years was up. So yeah.
So give us a couple stories, man. Like what kind of shit did you do? Like what kind of stuff did you get into?
Well, let's put it this way. I've been in 4 cars that have rolled. Only one of them I was driving, but it was always, crazy stuff going on at the time. Fortunately, I'm alive and I can tell the stories. And that was by the time I was 20 years old. So,
Wow. So you hung out with some crazy dudes then, huh?
yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
yes,
Not-
yes.
And
Well,
I
well,
actually,
well, go ahead.
well, I was going to say, Daniel, kind of like you, I could deal with all kinds of people. And so I had some friends that were the jocks and some friends that were the stoners and some friends that were the nerds. So I kind of could fit in any crowd if I wanted to.
I mean, really, that's funny that you say that because that's me. That's exactly my story. Like I got along with everybody, gang members and druggy dudes. And I mean, I hung out with everybody at one point in time when I was younger. And I got in a lot of trouble too. I mean, my, story. I mean, I was a bad kid when I was growing up and I got in a lot of trouble and
Yep.
made a lot of mistakes, made a lot of bad choices and things like that. But it's crazy because now looking back, you go, well, I mean, yes, I wish I wouldn't have done some of those things, but in a way, I kind of go, it's memories, it's experiences, it's just, things that happen, just the way it went, so.
Yep. Yep.
So anyways, I think that, when you decided to go into financial services, when you decided to go into business, when was that and what was that like? What was that experience like?
Yeah, good. I was 25 at the time and I was working in construction. And, I also had 2 part-time jobs. So I went and got a real estate license. I was doing that on the side. I was doing some, side jobs in construction. Everyone does that. And like most people, I was surviving. We were able to buy a house. My wife worked at the post office. So we were able to purchase a little house and, had a little mortgage payment, but we weren't getting ahead. And one day, her supervisor at the post office happened to be working in the financial business part time. And so the first thing I said is, wait a minute, you're a supervisor. Isn't that one of those good jobs you can do for your whole life and, get a pension and whatever else? And so I paid attention because if he was doing it, there obviously was some value in it. And so I started part time learning the financial business. And about 8 or 9 months later, I said, you know what, this is the industry I want to be in. I actually, because of the real estate license, I understood a little bit about money and compound interest and that, but I saw real estate was always a one-time hit. You could never relax. You're always working the weekends, the open houses, driving people all over town and them not doing anything. And that's fine. Some people are really good at it, but I wanted some residual income so I could go play and still get paid. So that's what attracted me to the financial service business.
So how does that work? I mean, explain to us, how do you create residual income in your business and, what kind of money could we make?
Yeah, good. So the 3 things that I saw immediately, people when they invest money, like a 401k or their retirement plans, typically put into that for years and years and years and years to build something up. Well, when you're the agent that sets up the accounts, you get paid every time they make a deposit and you get paid on all the assets or all the money that's in the accounts on a yearly basis. So right away, whereas I could sell a house and get paid once, if I set up investments for people, I might get paid for the next 20, 30, 40 years. Insurance was the same way. People buy car insurance, they buy life insurance, they pay year after year after year. Well, if there's a little residual income every year, then you're building up cash flow, whether you work or not. We call it mailbox money. right? The money keeps coming in, even if you're not in bed, even if you're on vacation. And then the third way in our industry, of course, in our business, is you could build up a business or a team of people. So owning your own branch or owning your own agency. And in real estate, they called that the broker. And I noticed that, there was a few of us that sold some houses and the broker got a cut off of everything. And I thought to myself, if I'm going to be in the real estate business, I need to be the broker. Well, in the financial business, the system that we joined was set up for you to become the broker, not buying the franchise, but just building the franchise, and they give you ownership. So I saw that those three residual incomes, investments, insurance, and overriding a team of people was a brilliant way to have a lifestyle where you can play and get paid.
Why do you think people, they have so many hangups about those type of models? Like, do I got to recruit my friends? Do I got to go talk to people I don't know? Do like, why do you think people get hung up like a job mentality saying, I don't know, man, I don't want to recruit people?
Yeah, it's interesting. Probably you were brought up the same way I was. Go to school, maybe get a degree if you're good enough to go to college, get a good job with security, like your mom and my mom at Safeway, right?
A lot
And
of
my dad
benefits,
worked.
a lot of benefits at Safeway. She used to always talk. Did your mom ever talk about benefits all
Oh
the
yeah,
time?
oh yeah, absolutely. Because they got their pension, when they retired. Now it wasn't enough to live off of, so I had to help support them like you did. But that was, most people are in that mindset where they are work processing. In other words, they go there, they're told what to do. For 90 days, I was in a union at a hospital. I was a pot washer, you in the kitchen. And when you showed up, you had to punch a clock. And then every station, it had a list on the wall of what you had to do while you were at that station. And so people are controlled by that type of system. They're processing instead of creating. And I think that's why a lot of times when we say, look, you can build your own team, you can recruit and train people, you can get into the financial business, which is reinventing yourself for most people, they resist. And they kind of try and place that thought process along with maybe some of the companies that multi-level market products. And so there's an association there, and I get it. But I don't know if you're a college football fan. I'm not a big college fan, but Alabama, I mean, Nick Saban has got to be one of the greatest recruiters in the world. I mean, because every year after year after year, they win. And that's all about recruiting. And a bunch of kids show up for tryout at the start of the year and they got to go through them and they finally get their starters. Well, that's all numbers. And that's the same as our business. It's all numbers. We have an Arizona Cardinals here and they finally got a good quarterback a couple of years ago. So we'll see what happens. But if they don't recruit, put a good line around that quarterback and he gets hurt, then they're not that good of a team. So recruiting is normal. Whatever job most people had, somehow they were recruited to that job. It was either maybe a career builders, or maybe their friend referred them, or in the old days there used to be newspaper ads, things like that. So every company, if they're growing, is recruiting. So it's not unnatural. It's just unnatural for the individual to be able to do the recruiting instead of an HR department, if that makes sense.
Oh, totally. I mean, and a lot of people, they just don't get it. And they wake up 40 years later and without anything, and they go, man, I wish I would have built something. I think about it like this. Look, I mean, right now we're all building a business so that we can create passive income. That to me is the issue right there. Like, I don't care what the job is. If it's creating passive income and it's creating income that pays me whether I'm asleep or awake, that's the kind of income that I want to have. Because you can't go travel the world. You can't go on vacation whenever you want. You can't stay in nice hotels if you don't have a good cash flow.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
So,
well, and here's what's interesting. You said that about passive income, and people work 40 years. They have a passive income. It's called Social Security.
right.
And it's a joke. It's not enough to travel. And so that's why they try and fill up their 401k. So they have another passive income off their investments. And then maybe, you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad and Robert Kiyosaki. Well, he was a real estate guy. So his passive income came from owning rental property. So it's natural to want passive income. It's just normally like investments or insurance or real estate takes either a lot of money or a lot of time to build it up. Whereas owning your own business, you can do it in a shorter time period and have great residual income in 2 to 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, my life. I mean, I started making 100,000 and went to 170, then 250, then 350, then $500,000. I mean, imagine a young punk 21-year-old kid, 28 years old, making $500,000. I mean, why would people not just try this? Like, just give it a shot, just give it a try. Like, why are people so afraid to try new things? Like, who can, even if you fail, you still leave with the opportunity to gather information, right? Think about it, right? I have a financial education because I got licenses in the financial business. And so I can never lose that information. Once I have the information, it's mine to keep forever, irregardless of who I work for and what business I'm in. Nobody could ever take advantage of me when it comes to money and finance. And so, why is it that people they're just so afraid to change?
Yeah, that's really a good point. And going back to that financial education you said, one of my two boys they both went to ASU. One of them got a finance degree. And the first thing he said when he finished 4 years of university is, really, Dad, they don't teach anything about personal finance. You learn more in Primerica or in the financial business in 6 months than those guys learn in 4 years, and it doesn't cost anything. Whereas that degree is, $30,000, $40,000. But I think one of the reasons why people are afraid or they resist is they're afraid of rejection. And if they try something new and it doesn't work out, then it makes them feel bad. And I figured out a couple of reasons, Daniel, why people are a little bit afraid of rejection. If we go back to when we were kids, and when you're a little kid, you ask for something and your parents say no. Well, you're a kid, you're going to ask again. And your parents say no a little louder. Well, you're going to ask again because you really want it. And now maybe, back in the old days, they smack you in the head. Now you probably go to timeout or, put your face in the corner, whatever. All right. But that is a bad feeling. So no created a negative result when you were a little kid. Then you became a teenager. You're a good looking guy. Maybe you got lots of dates. Ugly guys like me, what the heck, man, people turn you down all the time. So that more rejection, right? And so we tend to associate no's with painful emotional rejection. Whereas in reality, the best way I heard this one time was, there's personal rejection, like if you ask someone out on a date and they tell you no, and then there's concept rejection. Well, if you're in a restaurant and they're pouring you a cup of coffee and you drink it and they come back and the waitress says, "Hey, you want some more coffee, Daniel?" And you go, "No, no, thanks." The waitress is not going to go, "Oh my God, what's the matter with my coffee? What's the matter with me? What's the matter with the..." They just accept it as a no. Well, it's the same thing people need to get in their mindset is if they try something new and someone says no, or it doesn't work out, you already said it, no big deal. They're learning. It's an experience they're getting. I had a very good friend of mine, Daniel, when I first started in the business, I got him in the business and we were back in Canada at that time and it was totally different. And, it was really a struggle for most people. Well, he didn't stay in the business, but he followed all the things that we teach people to get out of debt and save money and all that. Well, 3 years ago, he was dying. All right. He had lung cancer. It went away. It came back. So he knew, that it was going to be short term. So there was 5 of us, high school buddies. We all show up for the weekend back up in Canada. We all fly in from wherever we're at. And, we're partying and having stories and, you're crying on some and you're laughing on some. And he pulled me aside. He goes, "Look, I really want to thank you for getting me into the financial business." And I go, "Why? It didn't work out." He goes, "No, you don't understand. One, my house paid off, worth $500,000 or more. 2, I got enough money saved up, got the life insurance. My wife's going to be taken care of. My kids, my grandkids are taken care of." He goes, "But more importantly, what I learned in that 4 or 5 months is how to deal with people." He was a mechanic the rest of his life. Never made a ton of money, but became wealthy because of us. He said, "I was the shop steward." And that's in a union where that's kind of the guy that can deal with management and deal with the lower level mechanics. He goes, "Because of what I learned in the financial business, I was able to deal with both ends. So I had a great life because of what you did for me." That put us in tears for sure. but how powerful, like you're saying, how powerful, just give it a try. Just, put your effort into something, even if it doesn't financially work out, you're going to get some value from it. If not an education, maybe this, like he did, a good people skill that he could use for the rest of his life.
Oh, that's powerful, Kevin. That's really, really powerful. So this COVID thing, man, I mean, it's just, cracked a lot of heads, man, over the last year. And, so tell us how it's affected you, good or bad. What do you see, where do you see this thing going? What do you see as the future of America even?
Yeah. You really want me to tell you how I feel?
I want you to tell, hey, we don't pull any punches here in Wealth on the Beach podcast, man. So you let it rip, brother.
Well, the first thing when it first hit, I said, this is a scamdemic. This is not a pandemic. It's a scamdemic. Now, yes, people died. I understand. But if you look at the statistics, most of them that died had some other challenges that maybe if they got a bad flu would have caused death anyway. I don't know for sure. But the second thing was, they started doing all this shutdowns and these mandates. Well, I said this to you earlier. We opted out of COVID. We just texted stop. I'm not going to play. I'm not going to play the game. And, so we lived our life the same as we always had. We've traveled all over the country, all over the world this year. The thing that ticked me off the most, two trips, and I've had them planned two other times. I was supposed to be in Machu Picchu in May. That got canceled. So I got it booked again this April. And I was supposed to be in Thailand for a month. That got canceled. So we booked it again, and then the airline went out of business. So now we got to book it again. So, but other than that, I mean, we never slowed down. We just did everything we need to. Now the value, of course, this Zoom, like us doing a Zoom and a podcast, there was ways to see people faster without driving over across town. But this is what I found out. I know California traffic is way worse than Arizona, but literally I can drive from one end of the city to another, which is 70 miles. I can do that in an hour now. Whereas in California, it used to be an hour to go 5 minutes, 5 miles, I mean. So there's hardly any traffic. There's really no rush hour still. I love that.
And so, one of the things I learned through this whole thing, and I agree 100%, scamdemic for sure, completely political, right? I mean, this is a political move. And it was on the part of the Democrats, man, they're smart suckers, man. I mean, they got everybody scared, shut everything down, riots and all, man, and scared the pants out of everybody. And of course, you're not going to elect a president, re-elect a president that the economy's down, people are out of work, people, and again, there's another topic of, was there funny business at the end? I still think there probably was, but the point is this, is that for our business though, what I've learned most, it was just a reinforcement of what I already knew, is that we're not an economy driven business.
Yeah.
So what I was so excited about and what I realized after all said and done is that, incomes were up, production was up. So while people were devastated, lost everything, we're talking wiped out.
Yep.
Our businesses continued to thrive. And I hope the people that are listening and you're like, well, I'm thinking about opening up a car wash, or I think I'm opening up, I want to do some kind of business. The reason why you want to really look at financial services as a legitimate way to make money and build long-term wealth is because we're not economy driven. I mean, me and you, we went through this 2001 stock market crash, right? We came out, flying, It was unbelievable. Those were some of the best years of our careers, actually, in those years. And then you look at the mortgage crisis of 2008, 2009. That just continued to fly. Yep. And then we go through this pandemic and stock market crash last year. And you go and look at all our clients. We told our clients, hey, look, just hang tough. Just let's get through the mess. Don't worry. Let's, a lot of our clients' money it's protected anyways. Right. So you go, all right, you're good. You don't have to worry about nothing. It goes down 30%. and then it skyrockets up past wherever they were even before they started. So like, what does all that mean to you, man?
Well, first of all, let's go back to that COVID thing. I realized right away that the powers, if you want to call them the powers to be, can control the world. I mean, this is a world issue. And I have you know, I don't know why or what all the theories are behind this, but here's what I'm seeing. I texted the travel agent that we had in Thailand, and she said Thailand's going broke. There's going to be multiple countries around the world declare bankruptcy, you know, because everything's shut down. And so you can, if you can shut the world down, you can control people. Fear controls people. So if you tell a person you must wear a mask, you know, then, and they're afraid because they're going to die, well, they're going to follow whatever you tell them. And the media is the number one portrayer of the fear because they make money off that. Don't turn that channel. Wait till we come back. See how many are dead today. So, you know, and you said it's political. I guess CNN now stopped putting the death count now that the election's over. And there was more people died the day Biden was inaugurated than any other day in the COVID history. So, but they're not putting that on anymore. But let's go back to the financial business. You know, fear causes people to do things that will, I guess, if you want, benefit them in a way. So the fear of dying, the life insurance business went crazy. When the stock market dropped, anybody that had any savvy said, man, this is the time to get in. Okay. Everything's on sale, 30% off today. So they got in. So the investment market has done well. People got their stimulus checks. They're unemployed. They're getting big unemployment checks and stimulus. They're day traders. They're putting money in the market. They got nothing else to do but try and, you know, be a day trader. The other parts of insurance, like car insurance, no matter what happens, people are looking to save money so they can, you know, buy food if that's the case. So we have a good potential there. Debt elimination plans. You know, people are racking up debt because they're out of work and, you know, the COVID thing. So all of those things are related to the financial business, which has caused, you know, our business, my business is up almost 52% since last year, not only in production and cash flow too, which is great. And that's year over year. Well, this year is probably going to be as good or better. I'm excited.
Yeah, you should be, man. You should be. And I'll tell you, I mean, so I want to know, like, I mean, what's one of the favorite trips you've been on, man? I mean, sell us the dream a little bit of maybe some fun things that you've gotten to do because you have freedom, dude. You can do whatever
Yeah.
you want to do whenever you want to do it, man.
Yeah, good. So one of my favorite, and this is interesting too. When my kids turned 16, we didn't use the incentive to buy a car because both of my boys played hockey like I do, and then their practices were at 6 a.m. on school days, and so I just didn't want to drive. So we already had them a car; they were going to drive themselves. So that wasn't an incentive. So you know, one of the things we said to them is, on your 16th birthday, pick anywhere in the world you want to go. And yeah, so that was fun. So Austin had picked to go to the South Pacific. So I rented a house on Moorea, which is Bora Bora, Moorea, and then Tahiti, the Big Island. But I rented a house right on the ocean, and there was a pier with an old boat that was a restaurant right by the house. And then of course there's a reef surrounding the place. And we were able to do like the helmet dives where you walk around the bottom and the manta rays are coming and the sharks are going around. Well, at the end of this restaurant, they would just dump all the food into the water there. And so there was these big 8 and 10 foot nurse sharks that kind of hung out under there. Now they're not going to hurt you, but the house, we had these little kayaks. We went and cut some sticks out of the tree. We went to the hardware store, bought some fishing line and hooks, and then we would dive down and catch those little fish that people pay hundreds of dollars to put in their aquariums here. We would catch them, put them on the hook, and the kids would hold that out, and the sharks would come up and grab that fish, and they would pull them around the lagoon. So they were doing shark rides and a little kayak around, and finally the shark would break it. They'd put a new fish, do it again. I mean, what a blast that was. So these are I mean, we've had so many great trips. That was just one of the things I remembered vividly that and by the way, this is something a guy told me years ago. This guy was 80 something and my kids were little. He goes, they're going to remember the experiences. So he said, your job is to create experiences that they'll forever hold in their minds and in their hearts. So that was, I always kept that here in my heart, because I knew that would be something that, I wanted to do for my kids and for my family.
It's awesome. It's awesome because, a lot of people, they focus so much on what am I going to go buy? What toy am I going to buy? I want to buy that, Ferrari, or I want to buy, like everybody's so focused on having things. But I think what really makes us happy in the end is the experiences, is the memories. I mean, the memories that I have. I mean, we just got back from Antigua, and by the way, I got shot down by a guy that, man, he was a masked police guy at the. He was a guy that was on vacation with his family, and he was walking around telling me to make sure I had my mask on all the time. And it was just unbelievable. But anyways, other than that guy, right, causing Daniel a little bit of stress, having to worry about this guy. Other than him, it was such an amazing experience. I mean, just the sailing out in the water and the kayaking and the, just being out on the beach and just enjoying the sun and having that experience with our kids and our family. You just can't. And and a lot of times when I go on, like a family trip, I will even make like a little short video where I put all the pictures of that trip. I put it in a short video. I upload it into YouTube, and I put it private,
Yeah.
and that way, not everybody sees it, but that way I always have it. So like today, I have so many videos on YouTube that are private to everybody, but it's our family little trips that we've taken through the years. And I feel so lucky that we've been able to do those things. And so pretty cool, man. I have to ask you, because I was kind of thinking about this a little bit after, but did you have struggles in the beginning? I mean, was it just like through the moon? I mean, just day one, you just killed it. You made millions. I mean, well, like, did you have some struggles in the beginning?
Interesting you say that. Remember, I told you I came out of the construction business and my parents were blue collar workers. So when I started in this business, the first thing, I never had any nice clothes, right? I only, the only button down shirt I had was the one with my name tag on it from the job. And my vocabulary was 4 letters, maybe 5 on a good day, if you know what I'm saying. So yes, I struggled. I had to reinvent me. I had to change. I had to talk differently. I had to act differently. We opened up first in Texas, and then we went to Canada a few months later, and Canada changed all the rules when we got there. So we weren't even licensed in the province I showed up in. I had 90 days where we couldn't even make 1 penny. And so then after that, we were struggling trying to get things going. And of course, back then it was a whole different ball game. We didn't get paid a lot to do what we did. So yeah, year after year. And fortunately, I was lucky in this sense. I had bought a house when we got there, and the real estate market had gone up. So each year I would sell that house, pay off my credit cards that I racked up from the year before to survive in business, buy another house. And it worked out for about 4 or 5 years in a row. That's what we did. And so we were able to survive, build up the business, and have that income. That's
Oh,
crazy.
that's a great story. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and here's another thing. You and I know you've done this. So, we put a dream board together, right? And I've got it on my wall, actually sitting right beside me here. And so about 4 or 5 months ago, there was an auction in California, and I bid on an Aston Martin DB9. I mean, I did a low ball bid, and I got the car. So I get it shipped out here, and I'm getting in this car, driving it. And Colton, my son, looks at my dream board. I did not even know this. He goes, "Dad, that's the exact car, the same make, model, color, everything that I ended up picking up on this auction." Now, here's the thing. You said you get these things, you may not really want them. I'm 6 foot, almost 5. I can hardly even fit in that ass. I got to sell it because it just cramps me up. I can't. Beautiful car, but I'm going to end up just selling it, get something different.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. Yeah. You buy some things, toys, they get dirty, they get broke, they get, I mean, shoot, this last year, I mean, not a lot of people know this, but my Tesla has been in the shop 3 times this year. Okay. Karma got hit from behind. Okay, so somebody hit her. No, I mean it was like 10 miles an hour, but it was still 15,000 of damage or whatever, right? I mean Teslas are pretty expensive to fix. And then I don't know if you knew, I was out going to Utah to go visit Brendan.
Yep.
Our friend Brendan Merton, and I hit a deer I hit a deer. It was 9:30 at night, pitch black out there. I'm on cruise control, autopilot. So the autopilot doesn't quite work yet to see a deer in the road at 9:30 pitch black. Doesn't quite catch that yet. And then my son, he had a little scrape on my, like 30,000 of damage, like a little scrape on the, like took out a pillar basically on my, so look, I'm just saying that I'm so glad though, that all through the years, we made it a priority to travel and to do. So I hope that the people that are listening, I hope that you remember, that it's going to be the experiences and the memories that are going to be what you're going to remember long range, versus the things that we had. Because the things I don't remember, but the experiences I do.
Yeah.
So how did your wife, how did she help you in business? Like, did you guys utilize partnership in your business, Mary?
Yeah, that's actually a good point. So when we were in Texas, she still had that job at the post office. But when we moved up to Canada to set up the business up there, well, she didn't even have a green card for Canada. So she could not work. And then we had the kids. So she literally would take care of everything at the house. I never had to worry about the yard, the cleaning, the cook, none of that stuff. So that was kind of our partnership in the beginning. I was out from 8 in the morning till 9 or 10 at night trying to build the business up. So she handled everything on the home front. And of course, later on, the fact that we were making money and the kid, whenever the kids were off of school, she was able, because she didn't have a job, so we could travel together and take the kids. And here's another thing I figured out with kids too. Before the age of 6, people want to do these big trips with kids when they don't remember that stuff. Maybe they'll remember Disneyland, it's a small world or something, but they don't remember the bigger stuff. But after the age of 6 is when you want to take them on these big vacations. But that's what we were able to do. The kids, for a while, were in a year-round school program. So they were, I think it was 3 months on, 3 weeks off, 3 months, whatever it was. So every 3 months, we were able to go on one of these great vacations. And since Mary never had a outside job, if you want to call it that, we were able to do that together as a family. And now that the kids are out of the house, she's here running the office because she was bored. She had nothing to do at home, so she comes in every day and we hang out for a little while. Then we go for lunch and we hang out a little while longer. And then we go home, go to the gym, work out, go cook dinner. And, it's great if you have a partner that you like.
Yeah.
Spend good point right there, right? And you're compatible.
So how did you guys meet? Where did you meet?
In a bar.
Okay. All right.
but we were in Austin. When I was working on the oil rigs, I got out of school and I went to work on the oil rigs in northern Canada. It was 40 below in the winter. You were working 12-hour days outside. And I came back off you were 2 weeks in the woods and 1 week out. My buddy talked me into going to Texas. We drove down to Texas, got jobs right away. And well, of course, we had illegal Social Security numbers back then. I was a wetback. They called me Frosty back. So I was an illegal alien, and we were working 1 week on, 1 week off. So we were not too far from Austin, Texas. So I'd go into Austin because it's a fun town on the week off, and met her. We were playing pool actually, and my buddy who I went down there with and her girlfriend ended up hooking up. So naturally, we just had to talk. But by the way, her girlfriend, my buddy, and him, that they were just like Miss Right Now. And then we've been married 35 years, Daniel. This is our 36th year coming up. So wow. We've been together a while.
That is awesome, man. Congratulations on that, man. So, all right, we're gonna kind of wrap this up, my friend. This has been too much fun. We could do this forever. I've had some great times with you as well. And I just want you to know that you're one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, and there's nothing that I wouldn't do for you. And so I just, you rock, buddy. Okay, couple rapid fire questions, just whatever's on your mind. So what's the most dangerous place you traveled to?
Africa. And I say that it wasn't too dangerous in the 5-star safari resorts, but driving from Kenya to Tanzania through the cane fields with a bunch of guys standing there with machetes, and you're in this beat up old van, you're going, am I really going to make it or not? And then we get back into Nairobi, and they had just had the election, and the mall, we flew into this little airport, had to go to a bigger airport. The mall we had passed and stopped in on the way out was on fire, guys with machine guns everywhere. Because I guess after elections here is pretty calm, there is not calm. They just want to go out and shoot each other or whatever. So that was a little bit dangerous. Probably if I think about that, second thing, probably most dangerous, China. And not because the people were dangerous, because everywhere we went, Daniel, everywhere, someone was watching you. They had microphones in the bus. They had cameras everywhere. They had microphones in your hotel. That to me, Big Brother watching you all the time, that's the most dangerous thing in the world. So
scary, yeah. Scary. Ice cream or cake?
Cake.
What's your favorite song? Carrot cake. Okay. All right. What's your favorite song? Like what's or your favorite band or whatever?
I like a lot of genres. I'm still stuck on the 80s rock,
okay.
That's uplifting. So I would pick 80s rock.
All right. Favorite food?
Steak and lobster.
All right, man. All right. Well, hey, everybody, I just want to let you know, you make sure you go follow Kevin. So how do we get a hold of you? Because I know you're still recruiting. You're still looking for great people. We're always looking for great people. And of course, you're in the Scottsdale area and you're all over the world now. So this is going to get played all over the world. So if somebody's out there and they want to talk to you, right, about investments or about insurance or about going into business with you, whatever, I mean, how do they get a hold of you, man?
Yeah, good. So my cell number is 602-620-1813, 602-620-1813. And my email is kevinzirkzone @gmail, kevinzirkzone And when you're with Zirk, you're in the zone. You know what I'm saying?
You're in the zone, man. You're in the zone. Now, are you on social media at all? Do you have an Instagram or anything like that?
I don't, but
okay.
Mary does. Mary Zirk.
Okay.
So she's a big social media. Yeah.
Well, hey, man, this has been so much fun, Kevin. Thank you so much for coming on, man. I appreciate you and I appreciate your time. I think we brought some value to the audience today. And as always, make sure that you dream bigger than ever, but get after it and do it now. God bless you.
Thanks, buddy.
We will see
you, man.
at the top.
Everything you do.
Love you, man.
All right.
Have a great day.